What's up, everybody? We're going through the UFC Pay Per Views in 2025 and ranking them, the main card only, by entertainment value. So taking the 5 fights on the main card, kind of averaging them out, and just ranking the pay per views by entertainment value. Yeah, let's get right into it. Starting first with UFC 312. Listen, I'm a giant Sean Strickland fan. One of my top 3 favorite fighters. But truthfully, this card sucked. I mean, the card sucked. That's really all you can say. The main event, I mean, DDP kind of beat Strickland's ass. It was all right. I didn't enjoy it, but I'm sure some people loved it because people don't like Sean. But yeah, I mean, co-main event, Weili kind of just boringly dominating. It wasn't boring per se, but it was underwhelming. Like, she didn't finish Suarez or anything. Talison Teixeira got a KO over Justin Tafa, and that was really about it. You got a draw between Jimmy Crute, Rodolfo Bellato, and then Jake Matthews getting a win. But I mean, just overall, the card was pretty terrible. Not too much to talk about there. I mean, going in, you kind of knew it was gonna be just not great. They often give Australia underwhelming cards. Not this next year though, 2026 with the Volk card looks pretty stacked, so I'm stoked for that. But this card was overall, like I said, pretty damn garbage. Moving on, UFC 321. Another one was just this was supposed to be good, which is an annoying thing. Like this main event was supposed to be good. It was kind of screwed over. Obviously, Cyril Gane cheating, getting a no contest. Should have probably been DQ'd or whatever. Anyways, pretty boring card overall. Like the co-main event with Verna and Mackenzie Dern, boring. Just kind of laying there, not too much going on. And then Umar versus Mario Batista was definitely the best fight on that main event. But even that was nothing crazy. I mean, Mario dropped him in the second with a knee. But, Jailton Almeida, Alexander Volkov, kind of just a snooze fest. I mean, really, it was pretty damn boring. The whole thing throughout. Main event was shaping up to be really good. Obviously, they're gonna have a rematch, but when a fight finishes in the first round from without a finish, it's boring. It's a letdown. It's unfortunate. Moving on, this is another kind of one of those cards where it's the main card overall sucked. Obviously, the main event, Holloway versus Poirier, was not a letdown. It was a banger fight, back and forth. Max Holloway won convincingly. I think it was 3-2 or 4-1 if I remember. But both of them dropped each other. When you see these guys in there, obviously it's gonna be a good fight. Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, kind of boring. Nothing too much. D-Rod beating Kevin Holland. That was a decent fight. Kevin Holland kind of came back at the end a bit, but gassed. Both of them gassed. It wasn't great. Patricio Pitbull versus Dan Ige. Both them low output fighters, and it's just kind of a low output stand up out. One of those things. It was a cool card though, obviously with Dustin Poirier retiring. It was enjoyable. Not as bad as the 2 previous cards, but the main event absolutely carried it. Moving on to UFC 316, this is starting to get where we get decent cards. Merab Dvalishvili dominating and submitting Sean O'Malley with Darce Anaconda choke. Juliana Pena getting subbed by Kayla Harrison with it was Kimura, I think. That's Kayla Harrison submission is great because it sets up the Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison fight, which I'm stoked for. I'm really excited for that. That's a women's MMA fight where it's kind of guaranteed, I think, to be pretty damn entertaining. Joe Pyfer fought Kelvin Gastelum. Decent fight. Joe Pyfer's an entertaining fighter, to watch. That Mario Batista upset over Patchy Mix, we realized how shit Patchy Mix is. He sucks. He's terrible. Kevin Holland submitting Vicente Luque. That was a great fight. I enjoyed that one. I mean, this is decent card overall. Merab obviously upset Sean O'Malley in the first one and then kind of dominated and finished him in the second one. We've seen now Petr Yan now beat Merab just this past weekend. So maybe in the future, if Sean beats Song Yadong, we'll get that Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley rematch, which would be sick. Because obviously, people have some opinions on that first O'Malley versus Yan fight where, they kind of thought Sean O'Malley robbed Petr Yan, which I'm hesitant to say, but it was definitely, I don't know. It was very close. We should run that back. This next one, 315, kind of overall a pretty mediocre main card. Benoit Saint-Denis beating a short notice Kyle Prepoluk. He was supposed to fight Joel Alvarez, which would have been sick. But yeah, beating Kyle Prepoluk, Alexa Grasso and Talia Silva, pretty fight. Aina Zahabi beating Jose Aldo was co-main event was mid, but the main event was a banger. I mean, Bilal and JDM got into a bit of a war. JDM dominated him, to be honest with you, though. We thought JDM was kind of like the guy who could stop all the Dagestanis, but, looking back now, I guess he wasn't, since he lost to Islam pretty convincingly. But, the main event was good enough to where it made an entertaining card. When you have a good fight like that at the end of the card, it kind of makes the whole card in itself better. And I think the undercard, if I remember, I'm not obviously not that doesn't go in my rankings, but I think the undercard is pretty solid as well. But yeah, UFC 311. This was the card in January, opening up the year. This was supposed to be a phenomenal card. We're supposed to have Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush, and then Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam. Obviously, Arman had to pull out, so we had Islam submit Moicano in the first round. It was kind of expected. Merab beat Umar in a fun fight. Emoting him on him and stuff. It was a fun fight. I enjoyed that one. And then this card was carried by Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Yuri having a masterclass against Hill, looking as good or better than he's ever looked. That is probably his best performance, I'd say, as of recent. He looked phenomenal there, piecing up Jamal Hill. But yeah, that fight I think carried. And then as well, we had Reiner de Ritter beating Kevin Holland and Jailton Almeida beating Sergey Spivak. Both decent fights. Not dragging the card down. That's why I said number 8. Overall, pretty well-rounded card. 319 was on its way to being like a top 5, top 4, top 3 card. You having Tim Elliott beating Kaya Sakura, Michael Page beating Jared Cannonier, Carlos Prates spinning elbow KO, Lerone Murphy spinning elbow KO, and then we get to the main event. Everyone's so excited. I mean, I was thinking about that constantly in my sleep for the past week, the week beforehand. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this fight. And then we get a classic performance from Hamzat Chimaev. That that Dagestani wrestling so dominant. I guess he just laid on him, right? Like he just laid on him. It really, it completely. I don't want to say ruined the card, but like it kind of ruined the card. We had 2 amazing knockouts beforehand, 2 amazing first round knockouts. That 1 second left, Carlos Prates spinning elbow KO on Geoff Neal. Screwed me over. I had it going to round 2. Whatever. I was stoked. I was like, oh shit. Then Lerone Murphy, and people were doubting him. I picked Lerone Murphy. So many people were picking Aaron Pico, doubting Lerone Murphy. This man, boom, flatline, murders Aaron Pico. Freaking takes the top of his head off. Beautiful KO. But, complete letdown in the main event. One of the most boring main events you'll see until UFC 322. Literally, I feel like UFC 322 was like a spitting, like it was like the twin of UFC 319, where you have Benoit Saint-Denis 16-second KO over Beneil Dariush. I think it was an uppercut. Carlos Prates, bang, bink, knocks out Leon Edwards. Michael Morales knocks out Sean Brady in an upset. He's just insanely impressive fight by Michael Morales. And then you get to the co-main and main. They're supposed to be so good. And then Valentina Shevchenko just kind of pats her way to a decision, lays on Zhang Weili, just uses her size. And then Islam Makhachev just lays on JDM, and it was just like, it was literally the same thing as UFC 319, where you have such a good card coming, and then just complete and utter letdown. And I understand that the fans of Islam and Hamza and whatever, like they like these because their fighters winning. And I understand. I like when my favorite fighter wins. Like if Sean Strickland has a relatively boring fight, though I will say he has never had a fight as boring as JDM versus Islam or Hamza versus DDP. He's never had a fight that boring. But if he has a boring fight and he wins, I'm still happy he won. I understand why they're happy. It's just like, from an entertainment value perspective, it's not there, and that's what I'm ranking on here. So yeah, it was dominant but not entertaining. Really getting into the good cards now. We have UFC 313, which I thought was a great card. We have Mauricio Rufy with that spinning wheel kick, knocking out Bobby Green, murdering him. Could be knockout of the year. I'd put it up there. Ignacio Bahamondes retired Jalen Turner, basically. Obviously, he's back now, but at the time, retired Jalen Turner out of nowhere with that triangle. Justin Gaethje beating Rafael Fiziev in a really fun fight, knocking him down once. That's what we expect from Justin Gaethje. He's entertaining over everything else. Every time, he's entertaining. He's never had a boring fight, and you expect that from him. And then, of course, the main event, it was a bit of a letdown, but it wasn't that bad in hindsight. Magomed Ankalaev beating up, or I shouldn't say beating up, but he beat Alex Pereira 48-47. He won 3-2. It was a decent fight. It wasn't by most standards for Alex Pereira, wasn't an entertaining fight, but it was a decent fight overall. The card overall was pretty solid. Moving on to what we just had last weekend, UFC 323. I think overall was a great card. Bogdan Guskov, Jan Blachowicz, super close fight. It was a draw. I had Jan Blachowicz winning, I thought, but I'm not mad about a draw. Payton Talbot, Henry Cejudo was a war. That was a great fight. Henry Cejudo showed grit. I shouldn't say war. I mean, it kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. Henry Cejudo showed grit. Payton Talbot, really, really big step up and looked good. Tatsuro Taira beating Brandon Moreno. I thought it was a bit of an early stoppage, with some back of the head strikes, but it is what it is. It was an impressive win all the same. He's going to finish him, I think. And I think he was going to have a proper finish in like 10 seconds. I think they should have let it go a little bit longer. That's just my opinion. And then, of course, the co-main event. This really, the co-main event, if it was any different, this could put this card at like 2 or 1. Just the co-main event. Unfortunate. I'm still really upset that Pantoja lost that way. I don't want to take away from Joshua Van. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. I really do like him. But to say yes, obviously he's a real champ. He has a belt. But until he beats Pantoja in a rematch or in a second fight, in my mind, just truthfully, he's not the champ. Pantoja didn't lose he lost the belt, but he didn't lose the belt. That's not. It's just I don't count it. You know what I mean? Pantoja's still the champ in my eyes, at least. And then Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan, banger fight. Petr Yan with one of the best, just the biggest master classes of the year, just completely beating the piss out of Merab Dvalishvili. We've never seen that out of Merab. He looked tired. He looked human. It was crazy. Petr Yan defending. I have it right here. He defended. How many takedowns does it say? He defended 27 out of 29 takedowns. Merab only got 2 takedowns, and then Petr Yan had 5 takedowns. That's bananas, insane, and yeah, insane. I'm still kind of like, wow, Petr Yan surprised me. I thought he's a great fighter. It's just I didn't think anyone was going to do that to Merab, but just impressive. That's the word, impressive. Going to the third best card of the year, I kind of wanted to put this higher. I have a little bit of bias. I was at the card in Miami. It was a great card as well. Dominic Reyes coming back and beating and getting a knockout win over Nikita Krylov. John Silva submitting Bryce Mitchell with a ninja choke. Yair Rodriguez dropping and beating up Patricia Pitbull was a very fun fight. Paddy Pimblett, really, I mean, this is his last fight, right? Before he got the interim with Justin Gaethje, right? Yeah. Beating up Michael Chandler, finishing him in the third. Impressive by Paddy Pimblett. People were doubting him. I doubted him. I picked Michael Chandler. I'm like, Michael Chandler's going to beat up Paddy Pimblett. I was wrong. I'll admit it. I like Paddy Pimblett. I'm stoked for that Justin Gaethje versus Paddy fight. I know a lot of people aren't happy about it. I like it. I mean, I think it's a fun fight. When you're talking about fun fights, that's a fun fight. It's a guaranteed banger. And then Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Fun fight. They got the rematch. It was a close, fun fight. Diego Lopez is very good. Volk, on the back end of his career, but he still looks good. Yeah, I mean, it was overall is a great card. It's at 3. There were no boring fights, as I said. I was there, so I'm a little bit biased to how good it was, but I still think it was phenomenal. I loved it. I had a great time. Miami was sick. Yeah, great card overall. I mean, really not much to say other than that. It was phenomenal. Yeah. Number 2. These top 3 really could have been in any order. I put UFC 317 at number 2. Peyton Talbot with a little bit of upset over Felipe Lima. I wanted Felipe Lima to win that. I like that man. Jungle Boy. Beneil Dariush beating Renato Moicano. Impressive win. Got dropped in the first, almost finished, and then came back and won in the next 2 rounds. Joshua Van on short notice, and this is how he got that title fight. Short notice, he steps up, beats Brandon Royval, knocks him down in the last round, almost finishes him. I mean, truly a phenomenal fight, just an absolute war. I can't even count that high, how many strikes they threw. It was insane. Alexandre Pantoja, absolute masterclass. People doubt him, say Kai Kara France is too good of takedown defense. He hits too hard. Pantoja takes him down in the 3rd round, submits him, rear naked choke. I mean, I don't know who's a better backpack. Maybe Aljamain Sterling, but Alexandre Pantoja, absolute masterclass. And then of course we have Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira in the main event. I don't want to talk too much about that. It still makes me upset. But I'll give credit where it's due. Ilia Topuria, phenomenal fight, phenomenal performance. The first person to put Charles Oliveira out asleep, cold. Obviously Charles has been finished before, but never been put out cold, and it was impressive. And I'll give it credit where it's due. This was an amazing card, top to bottom. The prelims are great too. I'm not taking that into account, but they were great as well. Yeah. And then in my opinion, the best card of the year. And these last 2, like I said, could have been in either way. I have to give this to one. I can't put Charles getting knocked out as the best card of the year, and this is bias in my opinion. Alex Pereira with a round 1 KO as a +2 with the underdog against Magomed Ankalaev. Everyone doubted him. He goes out there, sleeps Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, not sleep him, but knocks him out, finishes him. Super impressive. Just went after him. Merab Dvalishvili, Corey Sandhagen. Merab dominated Corey. It was entertaining. It was a fun fight. It wasn't a finish, but he knocked him down. It was a fun fight. Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree. I mean, one of the best comebacks you'll ever see. Ever. Like, it was insane. He was getting his ass beat. And then comes back and knocks out Khalil Roundtree cold. Just phenomenal. Who doesn't love Yuri? Anyone that's like, it was one of those fighters, like, if you don't love Yuri, like, can you really call yourself a fan of mixed martial arts? I mean, being a fan of Yuri is being a fan of yourself, man. Like, it just is. Josh Emmett, Yusuf Zalal was an impressive performance. It wasn't like super flashy or anything, but he submitted him. It was impressive. And then Joe Pyfer submitting Abus Magomedov, another great performance from Joe Pyfer. The card overall was great with a good end to it, with Pereira finishing Ankalaev in the first round. It was a phenomenal card. It was a great card. I really don't know what else to say. That's my pick as the best card of the year, UFC 320. It was phenomenal. UFC 317 is right there as well. UFC 314 right there as well. Those three are easily my top three. I think you could change those out in really any order you'd want. But they were all great. I mean, they really were. We had a good year. Yeah, these are my picks for the rankings of the pay-per-views this year. I'm gonna have another video coming out with like an award show for UFC in the 2025 UFC Fighter like award show. I'm gonna do the fight of the year, comeback fight of the year, all those sorts of things, upset of the year, all these sorts of things. I'm gonna have a award show coming out soon as well, and then tomorrow I will have my picks for the card this weekend. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys could please drop a subscribe, not drop a subscription. What I'm talking about. But if you guys could please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 before the end of the year, and I'd appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. Peace.